Hi everyone. I think I finished grading all of the assessment papers that were uploaded. If you still have yours to share, please do so whenever you have the chance. I do want to note that I will not be doing any grading after Friday night, so make sure you get everything in as I need to post grades. I did want to give you some feedback on the latest discussion board, and I'm also going to share another video just about some APA issues that I want those of you who are in the program to be aware of. So for this video, I'm concentrating on the feedback on the last discussion board post. And I'm going to tell a few stories to help you understand the importance of this. This particular module dealt with learning disability or language acquisition issue. So let me begin by telling a story that has nothing to do with English language learners, but rather with a little guy I had in one of my first grade classes when I was a teacher in an unnamed county in Maryland. I got this new student in January of the first grade year, and when he entered my classroom, he sat down and he fit in so very well with the other children. But I noticed that he had this strange habit of licking the palms of his hands. Now, I ran a classroom where all the supplies were shared in baskets on the tables. And so after a few days of this and having him get comfortable in my classroom, I took him aside and we talked about the Berenstain Bears and the Bad Habit. Those of you who are primary teachers certainly know this book. And I told him that I wanted to help him break this bad habit. So I was going to give him a secret signal whenever I saw him do this, which was this. And so we worked on that for a couple of days, and pretty soon he wasn't licking his hands anymore. Well, a few days later, I got a call after school that his father wanted to see me. And he came into the classroom very upset with me and said, didn't you read my son's folder? And I actually hadn't. And the reason is because I don't like to have preconceived notions about children before I teach them. And so I told him no. He said, well, it's this thick. I thought, I haven't noticed any problems with this child. And he proceeded to tell me that they had gone to many doctors, many psychiatrists, many psychologists about the son's hand licking. And he said to me, so why didn't you say anything about this? And I said, well, I worked with your child and we solved it. Do you notice him licking his hands very much anymore? And he paused and he said, I don't. And so it came out that all it needed was a little bit of work between he and I and calling the child's attention to this. And the father then laughed and said, well, I guess all we really needed to do was tell him to stop doing it. And so that's just a little story to help us remember that sometimes we have to have those teacher-to-student talks. And sometimes what's in a folder or what folks think may not be true. This was no more true than when my son-in-law, who is of Indian descent, lived in Malaysia for many years, or was born in Malaysia of Indian descent, and his family came to the U.S. Immediately, in a very well-known county in the state of Virginia, he was placed into ESOL services. And it took the family at least 3 weeks to get him out of ESOL services. He had never spoken any language other than English. So sometimes we really do need to meet with the family and make sure we're making the correct decisions. And we need to do some background knowledge. I had a student placed in my very first time teaching high school. I think it was my very first teaching job. And I was teaching a special literacy class in a high school. And a student was brought to me because they couldn't do anything with him. And they said, he speaks another language, so do what you can with him. And I worked with him and worked with him. Well, it turns out he actually was from a place where English was the language. He had a severe learning disability. So that's how we teachers can be that very first line. And by sitting down and getting to know our students and their families, it makes such a huge difference. Some of you talked about children who speak Arabic or languages that are not written left to right. And this can be a particular concern. I remember speaking with one teacher about this, and she was talking about the students' concepts of print and how concerned she was about this. And I said, well, what language does he speak? Well, it turned out Arabic, and so of course he wasn't going to have English concepts of print, and we needed to begin there. So, thank you very much, and I'm just swatting away all the bugs here in the northern woods. So I will see you in the next video, if you would like, about APA. Thanks.